Hello and welcome to our update on Ascending Harvest. I'm Paul Hoyt, the CEO of Ascending Harvest, along with my best buddy, business partner, resident inventor genius, Shane McKenna, bringing you a quick status update, which we like to do at least every 30 days or so. And we have a lot of progress to talk to you about today. We're very excited about some of the great things that we have accomplished, or mostly Shane has accomplished in the last 45 days or so since the last time that we talked. First thing we want to talk about is the pumps. Shane has successfully redesigned the pumps and engaged the services of an injection molding company in China. We have the first articles back, and we anticipate getting, I think it is about 500 pumps in here in the next couple of weeks. Is that right, Shane?
Yeah, that's right. I went through quite a process in selecting a vendor, and I'm extremely pleased. It's a challenging endeavor working with somebody outside the country, but we're working with donated funds, and I needed to get the cost of the pump down. So I actually redesigned the pump to get the cost down and the cost of the mold. I just felt like we really needed to get the cost of our mold down so that we're using the donated dollars for Ascending Harvest in the best way we possibly could. And that was quite a process. I went through a bunch of different manufacturers that I'm connected with in China. And one of those manufacturers worked with our budget, and they gave us way more than we expected. And they hit everything perfect the first try. So all of the dimensions, all of the finishes, everything about the pump is just absolutely, I couldn't ask for more, really. They did such a great job, and I'm extremely pleased with with our pump. It took a little bit longer to get here, but what's that old saying? You can have it fast, you can have it quick, or you can have it cheap. Choose any two. A bit longer to get here, but Paul, we're getting a little bit of feedback on there.
Yeah, I corrected that, I think.
Okay.
I started a watch party, and then it started like playing the watch party while we were recording. So my apologies to those who are watching from the watch party or not. Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, the long and short of that is that we have pumps on their way. We're going to have 500 pumps in hand. And so we're going to be, within the month, we're going to be building systems that are going to Africa. I'm very pleased that we are on track for our goals this year. While we're not placing as many systems as I would like to have for initial testing, we are placing systems in Africa for testing this year to help us work out some of the bugs and kinks. I don't anticipate that we'll have bugs and kinks in the technology itself. I think our bugs and kinks will be in communication, shipping, training, those kinds of things. I think we still have a lot to learn because those are bridges we haven't crossed yet. So this is going to be a great opportunity for us to cross those bridges and learn more about the challenges of getting product to Africa. And but it's going to be an exciting journey. We are going to have systems in Africa this year being tested, and that's been a goal of mine for many years.
I'm going to shift the agenda just a little bit, Shane, and talk to people about a great conversation we had just this morning, because we explained this process of creating a few dozen units, getting them out for field testing to polish our design of the systems themselves, but most importantly, to polish the delivery logistics of that. How do we get them in the hands of the people who need them the most with the right training materials and videos so that they can use them right away, use them effectively, and we won't have dozens or hundreds of people calling us to help explain how to set up the system or how to get started on the system. Because we want to keep our overhead as low as possible, and that means making the delivery as efficient and effective as possible So there's not a lot of questions and hiccups along the way, and we don't have a lot of support challenges. So just this morning, Shane and I spent about an hour on the phone with a gentleman who says he's got connections with the United Nations and was very excited about helping us put this system in front of a lot of countries in Africa who need this type of system. So we were really, really excited about that conversation. The most exciting part about that conversation is he said, people need this right now. What are you going to do to help me get 1 million systems in the hands of people who need them as quickly as possible? And we talked to him about this process of, hey, wait a second, we really need about 3 to 6 months of field testing and system refinement before we go to mass manufacturing to keep our overhead low and to make sure that people really get the value of it. But we strongly believe that we can be delivering 100,000 systems a month within 1 year. And we do. And after I said that, I checked with Shane, and he believes it too. He knows that we can do that. Yeah. So I made that bold, audacious claim, but we both believe that strongly, that it's a very, very good idea to do what I call a controlled release of the system to make sure that you've got the whole system of delivering these human-powered hydroponic gardens, in place for the marketplace, and then start doing it in some sort of mass volume. So that was an exciting call for us this morning. Thanks to Shane and his connections that made that all happen. Shane, you want to talk about that for a second?
We have a lot of people following us on Facebook, and we put out a little bit of information here and there. I put out a post now and then talking about the technology and talking about what we're doing. And one of my connections, Sue Ballman, she follows what I do and makes comments every now and then and gives us a thumbs up on our posts now and then. And she ran into this gentleman. His name is Bruno, and he's from Tanzania. He intimately understands the issues of poverty and hunger in Africa, and he has a mission to do something about it. And he's been looking for technologies that could be taken to Africa to help in this problem. And he's very excited about our technology. After he studied a little bit, he feels like it has significant value in many parts of Africa, in many communities, and that's what we're about. We're going to deliver these to Africa. We're going to have systems in place, and we're going to be feeding people. Or I should say, people are going to be feeding themselves. We're just going to teach how to fish, and then they're going to be creating their own food.
I love that. I love that. So we're really excited about the opportunity to connect with the United Nations and other very large NGOs, large humanitarian organizations that can help us just fund and distribute these products and get them in the hands of the people who need them the most. Third thing we want to talk today about is that we've had several, potential co-founders and investors in our company take a look at the prototypes that we had been creating and just kind of scratch their heads because they can't see what's going on underneath the covers. So Shane and I decided that, hey, it'd be really cool to have a viewable prototype, which was really easy for me to say and really hard for Shane to do. But he has over the course of the last 60 or 90 days, he's been working on it, actually created a viewable prototype, and we're going to show that to you right now. Shane, talk to us about the viewable prototype and show the folks what we got.
Okay, before I show it, there was a lot of time spent figuring out, okay, how am I going to construct this? Because transparent plastic, acrylic plastic, it's very brittle. It's not very easy to work with. It's very difficult to saw and to drill. You drill it too quickly, it'll crack. Not only that, but how am I going to put it together? What am I going to use to put it together with so that number one, it's non-toxic. It's got to be non-toxic to the plants and everything. So a lot of research went into this. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, I bumped the camera stand. But
now, Luke, I am your father.
So here's the top of it. This will have the intelligent grow media in the plant. And I made a little window in it right here so that as the pump is working, there's a unit that goes inside here that you can, and there's actually an LED light that goes in here too. And you can actually see the water being pumped up. This chamber right here is the anaerobic chamber. That has a very low oxygen exchange, so it's essentially nature's version of it's my version of nature's stagnant water. Stagnant water breeds anaerobic bacteria, and anaerobic bacteria break down organic materials into plant food, and then that leaches into the ground and comes out as springs somewhere. Anaerobic bacteria create a little bit of fermentation, so a little bit of acid happens in there, and that helps break down also trace metals, so copper, zinc, other metals that are in your nutrients that are not water soluble. This chamber right here, the bacteria in here, breaks that down and makes it available to the plants. There's not a lot going on in there, just enough. This bottom chamber here is the air battery, and this is where the air is stored. This is, you know, a normal battery that you think about stores electricity so that you can use it in a device. This stores air under pressure because it displaces water, and the depth of the water pushing on the air, it's pushing on the air through this open bottom here. Pushing on the air, and it's creating pressure. That pressurized air goes into this, our pump. Now, you'll notice this pump looks like a piece of black ABS pipe. Guess what? That's exactly what it is. That's one of the ways that we're saving money, is rather than our first initial pump injection molding a housing, we're using ABS pipe as a housing. So it dramatically cut the cost of the tooling required to manufacture the pump. Later on, we'll worry about saving some money on labor, and we'll injection mold this housing. But for right now, it's an ABS pipe. You're not going to be able to see in there very well, but there's the pump components that we're having injection molded. This is one of the first articles in this pump right here. And the air that's locked in this air battery gets slowly metered into that pump, and that works like a siphon. It's an air siphon, and every time it siphons air, it pushes a slug of air up this pipe. You probably can't see that very well, but there's a pipe in the middle there, and it pushes air up that pipe up into the top where the intelligent grow media and where the soil is. Plants are planted in the top, and that's how we grow fruits and vegetables.
Well done. And we're only, I would say, a few days away from having that be a prototype with a plant in it. So
Yeah,
we can show that to potential investors and founders, and they can see firsthand how the technology works. And for those of you who may be joining us for the first time and seeing about Ascending Harvest for the first time, there's at least a couple of patents there. There's a patents on the pumping mechanism and the air battery below, and on the intelligent grow media. Well, the intelligent grow media is more of a trade secret than it is a patented product up at the top of that. So we're real excited about that intellectual property that we've got, and the way we're able to demonstrate that with the viewable prototype, and the long-term benefit of that intellectual property in other industries as well, which is the last thing that I wanted to talk about, is that while we are still seeking co-founders and investors for Ascending Harvest, we are also in the process of creating a new company called Ascending Ventures to take the technology that we have in our human-powered hydroponic gardens and leverage that into other industries. We've been getting a lot of interest from the medical cannabis industry to take this technology and help them be very efficient and grow, the finest quality cannabis plants that they can, ensuring organic status and making it as efficient as possible to that, extremely high value crop. So we are excited about Ascending Ventures. And Shane, I'm going to let you talk about that for a second.
The technology that we're using in human-powered hydroponics, it's cost-effective all the way from the small unit that's really not anything more than a flower pot. It's a very fancy flower pot. All the way up to very large-scale growing operations. And so we have always had the intention of having commercial farming technology for working with farmers who are growing particular crops, and I've been approached by farmers who are growing different types of crops, and then designing systems that are ideal for that particular crop. And because our intelligent grow media is an engineered material that we can design to precisely deliver the exact amount of water to plants, water and nutrient to plants, and because our technology allows them to use organic nutrients, and our technology unlocks the bioavailable components of those nutrients and makes them available to their plants, we can achieve rapid growth and high production rates while keeping everything completely natural and pure. And so we're very excited about approaching different markets with the technology. And now that we are achieving well on our way of achieving our goals for our humanitarian mission, we feel like we have an opportunity now to reach out to those commercial customers and make this available to them. And so we'll be excited to share what we're doing there as we go. We have some folks that are very interested in becoming clients, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the next month or two I'm showing you some systems that are helping to grow. Medical CBD is one client potential client that we have who's extremely interested in using this technology because of the way he grows his particular product. He sees a distinct value proposition with our technology of adding mass to his plants, and so that in the same amount of time he will achieve greater growth. And we're going to be putting some systems into his grow operation to validate that. So we're excited about that.
We are excited. So I think that's about a wrap on our update for today. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch, and I want to thank you for all of your continued support. We've been at this for, almost 9 months now. Well, we've been designing it and doing it for about, 15 months or so, but we started our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign last year. I think it was September the 19th. So we are very grateful for all of your contributions. We're grateful for your support. If you or anybody that you know are interested in becoming a co-founder with Ascending Harvest or with Ascending Ventures, please reach out and give us a call, and we'll be happy to talk to you about that. We see a very large world of opportunity here, and we see the opportunity more than anything to really feed families who need it the most in developing countries, in refugee camps, and in slums, to empower people who never thought that they could grow their own food before, to have their own family gardens and community gardens, to make a significant dent in the problem that we have with world hunger, and help the United Nations and all of the other organizations who are focused on ending world hunger by 2030. Thanks for being part of our team. Thanks for joining us on this status update today, and thanks again for your continued support.
Yes, thank you very much.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.